Hello everyone for the 7th round of the Unlimited Racing 2D Championship Season 3. Today we're here at Germany. But before we get anywhere, this is how the championship standings look like. Last time out in Assen, Lando Norris managed to get his first ever Grand Prix victory. That was an emotional one. And after that, took the lead of the Drivers' Championship once again. He's really making it hard for the Alpines. Personally, I still think that the Alpines will overtake Lando, but the fact that he's won 7 races and is still in the title fight, actually is leading the championship, that's honestly something special, something spectacular. Pierre Gasly having a much better season this year, and Carlos Sainz even getting his first win earlier in the season. Perez not as good as previous seasons, neither Max Verstappen. Alex Albon, you just feel like he's still warming up. Esteban Ocon and Alex Lynn just doing a solid job. Lewis Hamilton, rumours are this could potentially be his final season in the sport. Nico Hulkenberg back in the sport is doing a fantastic job, even last season. Mick Schumacher, I think this is his weakest season actually out of any. Callum Ilott and Yuki Tsunoda's been tricky for those two. Magnussen's been solid, Ricciardo's been solid, but Stroll, Bottas and Mazepin, they're still quite a bit behind. Anyways, let's get into the weekend. I guess you could say Alpine are favourite this weekend. Even in the constructors as well, they are favourite. And they are leading. But anyways, going down to turn 1. Russell so far has P1. But for how long? They could now clear the first sector. It looks like his teammate Leclerc's managed to take P1 away from him. Going into the Schumacher S now. So far it's looking like a 1-2 for Alpine. Sainz P3 at the moment. It looks like though Charles Leclerc takes P1. He'll be followed by Esteban Ocon. Esteban Ocon managed to get between the two Alpines. I thought it was going to be an Alpine 1-2, but Ocon's come from nowhere. Sainz P4, Lynn P5, Gasly P6. The McLarens, they're only good enough for 7th and 10th. Hamilton having his best qualifying of the season, P8, Perez P9. Verstappen P11, with Ferraris being P12 and 13, Schumacher 14th, both Hasses 15th and 16th, with Red Bull and AlphaTauri switching positions for the last 4 grid slots. Going into the Grand Prix, honestly I don't know who could win this. I think favourite though still is Charles Leclerc. However, he's starting on the hard tyre. Ocon immediately goes defensive on George Russell and is doing a good job, but George Russell drives round past him. Goes the long way round. Now his teammate's next to him. Russell wants to get the P1 and he does. Going into hairpin, Russell has P1. Carlos Sainz is going to go around the outside of the Schumacher S. And he does that really well. The battle continues going into the chicane. It looks like Alex Lynn goes between both of them. After lap 1, George Russell has P1, Alex Lynn P2. If you were to tell me that last night, I would not have believed you. George Russell and Carlos Sainz battling for P3. Lynn though is making the move for the lead. Alex Lynn, he goes slightly wide. Lynn goes slightly wide. Sainz now, he should have it on his teammate. Round the hairpin. Lynn keeps it. Lynn takes P1. Alex Lynn takes P1. The Alfa Romeos are loving it this weekend. Last weekend it was all about Mercedes and McLaren. This weekend, dare I say, it could be all about the Alphas. Although, Carlos Sainz nearly takes out his teammate going into the final corner. That must mean a hairy one for Bismarck Sam to watch. The two Alphas battling for P1 and P2. Carlos Sainz has the lead for now. Alex in P2. Russell P3. Ocon P4. Perez P5. No, Norris P5 now. Perez P6. Leclerc P7. Russell, Sainz, Ocon, Lin, Perez, all of the soft runners are coming in now. Slight problem in the system there. Anyways, we carry on, we continue. Carlos Sainz is going around the outside of George Russell. How has he managed to do that? He's driven right around the outside of George Russell. What a move. Carlos Sainz, don't forget, this man has already pitted and has taken P1 just like that. Could Carlos Sainz take his second race win of his career? Although me saying that, it's really early in the Grand Prix. We're only a third into the Grand Prix. Russell and Lin both on the hard. Sainz, he's pushing though. Looks like Perez is going for the move as well on Ocon. He gets the move done. He's going to need to defend the inside line, and so he does that really well. Carlos Sainz now is just putting in the lap times, trying to stay consistent. What Alfa Romeo and Carlos Sainz want to do, they want to increase that gap. They know that they may need to do an extra pit stop. But at least if Carlos Sainz he keeps on putting in the laps, keeps on pushing, then, increasing the gap, an extra stop may, it may cancel itself out. Further back, Alex Lin really trying to keep behind Sergio Perez, but it looks like Perez gets him for P3. Perez has gone wide. Lin now takes P3. Who's that in the pits? I think that's Sainz. That is Sainz. Now he comes out on the hard, in front of Alex Lin. So he's behind George Russell, okay, but he's in front of Alex Lin, which saves him from battling his teammate. Now we're entering that stage where it looks like Carlos Sainz will be guaranteed a podium, which is great news for Alfa Romeo. But what they want to see is another race win. Carlos Sainz and Alfa Romeo's second in both of their histories. Pierre Gasly is all over Charles Leclerc. Gasly makes the move stick. Leclerc is dying softs, but Leclerc manages to push Gasly off the track. He forces him wide. George Russell now is in. The hard tire runners are now in. I think Russell will catch up to Sainz. It's only a matter of time, I think. Perez though goes round the outside of Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly's had a horrible last 2 laps. Just been going wide and losing positions. Same can be said for Alex Lin as well. But for the time being, Esteban Ocon's running P3. Although P3 can go to anyone at this current stage. Where is the other Alpine? Carlos Sainz is running P7. He's had a really poor race up to this point. It's because he started on the hard tires as well, on the wrong set of tires. He's going to try to go around the outside of Alex Lin. No, it doesn't make it work. Uses some Urs though down the inside now, which then becomes the outside. Lin uses some Urs, but Leclerc manages to keep it. Really good overtake from Charles Leclerc. And he gets Sergio Perez in the process too. Perez is going to try to go down the inside. And pushes Charles Leclerc wide. Alex Lin also takes the position. Up at the front though, Carlos Sainz. I reckon he'll be pitting soon. But this stint has been glorious for him. Okay, now he's stuck in traffic. But the fact that, George Russell's not being able to close the gap, it's been beautiful for him. And now they're pitting at the same time. Carlos Sainz and George Russell are pitting at the same time. I think Sainz may come out in the lead. Yes, he does. Very good buffer to P2 as well. Right now it's just Sainz versus Russell, then you have everyone else. They're both on the softs. So I think that time may last them till the end of the race. Lando Norris, he's in P3. That set of hards may last him to the end of the race. Same can be said for Esteban Ocon. Sainz though just lapping drivers. Now it's all about keeping concentration. He knows what's at stake. Last race, it was McLaren, Lando Norris, who managed to take the race victory. But it was, joy for Mercedes. And don't forget, Mercedes, the Alfa Romeo's nearest competitor. So this, them bouncing back now will be massive. Although that battle for third is still, still up there. Honestly, anyone up to about, Pierre Gasly, I'm saying. Honestly, I think still has a shout for P3. Leclerc's going to try to get Ocon. Leclerc gets Ocon. But Leclerc runs wide. Now Perez is going to be on him, but Leclerc uses some hours just to stay ahead. He does the switcheroo. He's going down the inside. Can he make the move stick? What a move! But he runs wide. Charles Leclerc runs wide. I think he may make it. It's going to be close. Down into the hairpin. Charles Leclerc's managed to get the position. Starting though, lap 14, the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix, is Carlos Sainz. He's just done everything this weekend perfectly. Now he just has to stay awake. The tyres, they are going to be dead. They're going to be dying. But he should make it. Look at Lando Norris. Take turn 3. Turn 2/3. Just drifts around the corner. Now everyone's tyres are going to be finished. All of them. Leclerc's going to run wide. He used the Ers in the wrong place. Perez does also, and Ocon. Now we're getting to the, the part in the race where everyone just cancels themselves out. Everything becomes equal because the grip on the tyres are finished. Can Carlos Sainz though just bring it home? George Russell's in very similar situation. The closest battle here though is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th between Charles Leclerc, Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon. Ocon's going down the inside of Perez. Can he make the move stick? Yes, he does. And he's going to try to use Ers on Charles Leclerc. Run slightly wide. Oh, Ocon takes it. But Carlos Sainz wins at the Nürburgring. That's his second ever win and Alfa's second ever win in history. George Russell P2. Lando Norris takes him a very well-deserved P3. Quality was hard, but the race he managed to make up for it. Esteban Ocon, we saw that overtake on Charles Leclerc. What a move that was for P4. Charles Leclerc P5 and Sergio Perez P6. P7, Alexander Albon. It looks like he managed to just beat Max Verstappen, with Alex Lynn and Pierre Gasly finishing off the top 10. Mick Schumacher, P11 with Lewis Hamilton P12, both has P13 and P14, with Kevin Magnussen P15, Daniel Ricciardo P16, Lance Stroll P17, Nico Hülkenberg P18, Valtteri Bottas P19, and Nikita Mazepin P20. Look at that championship lead. 3 points is now the gap between Lando and George. Charles Leclerc though, he did not have the best of races, and now he's 7 points away from the leader. Carlos Sainz back in P4, back ahead of Pierre Gasly. That's going to be such a good battle all season long, honestly. Sainz versus Gasly, bring it on. nearly as good as the championship fight. Sergio Perez, would I say he's battling Albon? Like, yeah, I guess you could say he's battling Albon, Verstappen, and Ocon. Alex Lynn slightly further back. Lewis Hamilton, it's just not been his year this year. Mick Schumacher 12th, Hulkenberg 13th, Eilert 14th, Magnussen 15th, Ricciardo 16th, Tsunoda 17th, Stroll 18th, Bottas 19th, and Mazepin 20th. Here's how the constructor standings look. Etihad Alpine have a good lead over McLaren Nike, with Mercedes just 1 point ahead of Alfa Romeo. 1 point is what separates them. Then you have Force India 1 point ahead of Williams. It's really close, honestly. So close. Ferrari, I guess you could say, they're not away from Haas yet. Haas, they won their 3rd consecutive P7 in the championship. They do like P7. And then it's Red Bull and AlphaTauri at the back. Thank you for joining me here for this German Grand Prix. Next is Canada, then after that, it'll be USA, then the summer break. Then we go to Belgium, Italy, France, Australia, Japan, and Brazil for the final Grand Prix of the season. This is the longest championship ever. Usually, the championship, about 14 races, but this year is 15. But thank you for joining me here. What a Grand Prix. Can't wait to see you next time in Canada. Thank you and goodbye.